Three, two. Hey, Mindset Masters, what's happening? What's happening? Happy Tuesday, July 7th. I'm here for our month of mastery with my main man, Nolen Handsome Davis.
Let's go. Let's
I
go.
always tell him it's like looking in a mirror. So Nolen and I have gotten really close really quick. We're business partners in a couple things. And let me just give you the lowdown on Nolen before we get into his story. Nolen is a traditional businessman. He's had multiple businesses. He's a professional public speaker in his own right for a good part of, I think, 20 years, if I'm not mistaken. Teacher, coach, trainer, speaker. He's a creative director and owner of his own production company. And Nolen, you may not know this, but you're in the top 1% of income earners in the world in network marketing, from what you and I have talked about.
I did not know that.
So that, I mean, multiple businesses, like, blue collar, white collar, traditional business, network marketing leader. One thing I like about you, well, I like a lot of things about you.
Well, thank you, sir.
Right on your bio, right on your bio, it's like, I'm in the trenches. I noticed that about you. You're all love. You're in the trenches. You've had your trials and tribulations. You had your own TV show, but you've been through some things. You know what I mean? And not to minimize this either, but the Guinness Book of World Records, I think multiple times are coming up for the second time. So we can chat a little about that. But from what I know about you and our time together, you're humble, you're approachable, you're a lover of people. Why don't we start off with this question? What is kind of your overall philosophy that you've developed with people and humans in general?
So when I was younger, a lot of times you see people get all the lights, the cameras, they get all the applause, they get all of these things, right? It was two different things from that. I'll say it was a couple of different things as I was growing up. Is one, I always felt like greatness was inside of me and I was trying to find it. Les Brown says, there's winners, there's losers, and there's people that's trying to figure out how to win, right? And so I feel like we're all inventors of our lives. When you think of an inventor tinkering and changing this and changing that and trying to create that recipe. So, sometimes I think people can find it really fast, maybe because they are surrounded by people, they're surrounded by the proper energy and the vibrations for you to cultivate whatever that is. But then most people are not. And so a lot of times I feel as if we're all fighting to be what God made us to be, right? And once you find out, in my opinion, this is just what I believe. Once you find out what your purpose is in life, your strength about yourself, your insecurities go away, like everything is right there. You're like, this is what I was born to do. And so as I achieved certain levels of greatness to where you could not deny me. So one of the things I did was I do things on purpose so you can't deny me. Kind of that, I don't know if you remember that Janet Jackson song, "What Have You Done For Me Lately," right? So when it comes to the mindset of a champion or a leader or a winner or whatever you want to label it as, there's always I have to perform the next time. I have to perform the next time. And to me, I get it. I think organically through your evolution of and the process of becoming who you are, you get greater and greater at it. So now what was like the winning point of a game, like now becomes second nature to somebody like Michael Jordan, right?
I got
and
you.
So right, but it's more of a oh my God, am I gonna make it? Oh my God, there's a lot of pressure until you organically get there. Like, I've done this over and over again, over and over. We got X amount of seconds left. Coach, give me the ball. They're gonna give it to Jordan, right? So through that evolution, I feel as if I did things to where you couldn't deny me from a standpoint of, that was just this last time. What are you going to do this time, right? And so my ideas kept getting bigger and bigger to where what I've accomplished will always stay with me. So now I feel like I create what I call tombstone ideas. What are you going to put on my tombstone? You're not going to put that one winning shot on my in 1986, he put the winning shot for Little League. Nobody cares, right? But what are you going to put on my tombstone? And that's what brought me to the evolution of what are people going to say at my funeral? I've talked to you about this before.
Mm-hmm.
So the things that I do is the things that will make me legendary, at least in my mind. What are you going to say at my funeral from that standpoint? You're not going to say how much money I made. You're not going to say how many shots I made. You know, if you're Michael Jordan, you might, right? But most people that are going to speak at my funeral, they are going to say what I did for them, how I made them feel when nobody else had them, when they felt like they was at the bottom, when they felt like nobody else saw their potential, right? When they felt like everybody else was laughing, humiliating them, whatever it was, I was their friend, right? So everything I do falls within that realm. So there's nothing you can say about me that you feel that I've done something or accomplished some big goal that it was not connected to helping people reveal their greatness, hence Justice League, helping people reveal their great. I love my team, dude. Like, so helping people, right? Helping people reveal their greatness or living life as the example. So that's what I do.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, you definitely, like I said, you and I got really close really quick. And I can just tell you come from a place of love, which is just the highest vibration there is with being a lover of people. That's why I said that in the beginning. That's if I, in our short time together, if I was to sum up you, the essence of you, I would say that's what I would put on your stone. He was a lover of the people, you know? Well, what was,
that's my tagline, just real quick, my tagline is love is love. So anytime somebody calls me and they say, man, what's going on? I say, man, love is love. What's going on with you? Like it's all love. So absolutely.
And that smooth radio tone too. I love it. Well, you've been through a lot. You and I have chatted. You've come from, not some easy beginnings, not some easy things happen even midlife and even some recent things, right? So what, if anything, could you pinpoint was sort of the paradigm shift, the turning point? Can you, at any time in your life, did you have a moment or a turning point, or was it a series of things that sort of shifted you from where you were to this, what we see here today?
So I'm gonna. This is a prime example of your environment and the people that are around you, right? You teach a lot about paradigms and people that you feel you may not get what you need from your family, but they're doing the best that they can because of their paradigm or whatever they know, right? So I've been an inventor. Like, this is something that people don't know about me. I actually have a book of inventions. I would literally wake up in the middle of the night, 2, 3 in the morning, and write down inventions. So at a very young age, I remember my very first invention. So this is a true story, right? This one story changed my life on my thought process. And this is, my thought process is, everybody's gift is also their curse, right? So I'm gonna show you what happened. My most favorite person on this planet is my Aunt Jackie, especially growing up. My Aunt Jackie, she is silly as I am. We would laugh all day, the whole nine. So any knee-jerk reaction I had that was a feel-good or building thing, my mom and my stepfather, not so nice, right? I literally was on punishment for 2 years, like in my room for 2 years, right? And so that kind of helped strengthen my mindset, built some character. So this quarantine is nothing to me. This is a walk in the park, right? But anytime I wanted to talk to someone about something that felt good or something that had opportunity or options or hope or anything, it was my grandmother and my aunt, right? So I used to cook with my grandmother all the time. And I came up with the idea to have a pot that the top locked and it had holes in the top. And when you lock it, you could drain the spaghetti, right? It was just like a colander.
Yeah, I know where this is going.
Right. So here's what happened. I come to my aunt and I tell her, I'm like, you know what? And my thing is not for you necessarily to do anything. for me at that time, my thing was, Nolen, that's a great idea. Kudos to you.
Mm.
But she couldn't say that, right? What she said was, that'll never work. I was like, really? She was like, yeah, she said, if it was a good idea, it would have already been done.
Oh my God.
What? I was like, and so I was confused by it, but I was like, okay, because I was really like 14 years old, something like that. And I was like, oh, well, I thought that was a good idea. So now I'm thinking out of the box of a good idea, because now in my mind, I got to lick you, right?
Mm-hmm.
You told me what I thought was a good idea was a bad idea. It's going to be my dying thing to come up with something that you say, Nolen, that's a good idea, right? I'm just wired that way. So her and I are sitting on the couch, and this is before DVR. You had to watch everything live. And for 1995, the exact thing that I told her came on TV. And when I tell you, I looked at my auntie and was like, you don't know what you're talking about. I was like, right then and there, I was like, whatever I have inside of me, I have to actually work it out and fail myself before somebody else, before I listen to somebody else. If I got if I have that feeling of, I think I'm on to something, I'm going to figure it out. And I don't really care about failure. Failure gets you to success, right? I'm creating a map that says you start here, and every street, every landmark says failure, and success is over here. You have to go through failure to get to success, right? So when that came on TV, I promise you, in the most respectful way I could, I told my aunt, because remember, I was only like 14 or 15, like, I need you to shut up talking to me because you don't know what you're talking about, right? And from that point in time, all of my ideas, anytime somebody says that doesn't work or that's stupid, it just fuels me. And I always go back to that time of, like, how do you say it's not a good idea? You can take something as simple as the Snuggie that made
oh my God,
hundreds of millions of dollars, if not billions of dollars. I think it was made $1 billion. It's something ridiculous.
I think you might be right. It's up there, yeah.
It's something ridiculous that you just literally put sleeves into a blanket and left the back out. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. And anybody else would be like, dude, that's a backwards robe, is it not? Right? So that's literally all it is. They marketed it a different way, made it a meal. It was people that was like, that was stupid, and then they had it snuggled up by the fire come Christmas, right? Like, so it's just, to me, it's just what you see from your eyes, your perception, your experience, your background, and what I see from an opportunity, I'm always looking at hope, right? We can instill hope in others. We can generate the right energy or vibration of, oh my God, this is helping people. That's everything that I do. So what I do is not connected to money. What I do is I want money to be the byproduct of the impact that I make, right? So everything I come up with is from that standpoint. That's it.
No, I love that. And I mean, looking back, I guess you're probably thankful for your aunt for giving that life lesson, right? How do you look at that? I mean, that's just such a tremendous lesson that everybody here needs to really absorb that one, because everybody's got that going. Anybody's trying to be an entrepreneur in any way, shape, or form. Most people are not that, right? You're in the top 3% of the world or less. So when we bounce ideas off people that are ignorant, and ignorant's not a bad term, it just means not knowing, we're going to get that feedback. And in your case, though, you took that feedback in a positive way instead of what most people would have just kind of curled up in a ball. So that kind of leads to my next question is what is the one piece of advice you would give to the mindset master? I want this month of mastery to be really impactful and life-changing. And this might be a tough question. Maybe it compounds off of that last answer. But what is the one piece of advice, if you could impart these beautiful people with, that you would give them, either business-wise or life-wise?
It would be I thought about this. I was just on a show, big shout out to Shree. I was just on a show called Wow. Um, and I was on a Shree's show.
Mhm.
And they asked me this question, and I never thought about it. And I thought about it after the fact. And this is really big for me. Because as an entrepreneur, there's a lot of different things that we're doing because we're surrounded by other people that are not entrepreneurs. So there's a lot of different things that people are saying that they feel like they're protecting you, but they're not giving you they're not being the wind beneath your wings, right? They're just like, that's not going to work. This just the same example. Most of the things that happen from an entrepreneur standpoint, and you can look at your feed. Everybody who's watching this right now, if you're an entrepreneur, think about the posts that you've put up. Think about the other posts that you see from other entrepreneurs. Those posts are laced a little bit with I'm going to prove it to you.
Mm.
I'm going to show you, right? The whole world is against me. And so a lot of times we use that anger or that frustration to fuel our plight. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. But what I would tell a younger me is that I would want to work more towards something and for love
Mm.
of doing it instead of the frustration and the anger to prove someone wrong. The reason, and you need that up front, it's not a problem. I get it, right? It's a way that you use your emotions to fuel whatever gets you going, right? So, but the reason I would do it much earlier on is because sometimes when you reach a level of success and people now say, man, we know you can do anything you put your mind to, your fight is gone a little bit,
Mm.
right? So now you don't have the muster that, because everybody's like, okay, you're like, I'm going to prove them wrong. I'm going to show them. I'm going to do this, that, and the other. I'm going to build this rocket. I'm going to do whatever it is that you need to do. And you're like, I'm going to stay up all night. I'm going to stay up all day. I'm dedicating my life to it, this, that, and the other. And people don't think I can do it. I'm going to prove everybody wrong. And I'm going to just say, instead of saying, I'm going to build this big, beautiful thing. And, you know, some people may be in awe of it, but the beautiful part of it is that I was really the only person that could see it when I closed my eyes.
Mm.
And when I open my eyes, everybody else can see it. I brought that to fruition. That process or that evolution of the idea starting here and evolving to a finished product, right? And that finished product, because my father's in process improvement. So we live in the biggest room in the world, which is room for improvement. So let me put that out there before my father think I'm done. I don't think I'm done, Pop. I don't think I'm done. I get it, right? But that whole evolution of a thought process to an actual thing or an actual service or an actual app or whatever it is, something tangible, that is a beautiful process. And sometimes people miss the process through the anger,
Mm.
right? Because now you don't really know what that feels like and you can't really put your finger on the pulse of it because you're just stumping through. So what I would say is find what it is that you love about it, because there may be ideas that everybody think you can do. And now if you're not fighting, because you've programmed your mind to fight against everybody to prove them wrong, there's some ideas that I'm literally going back to do because people felt like it was too easy for me. And I was like, oh, I don't want that one. Like, I want the ones that I got to fight. We got to beat them. We got to, right? So that's the advice that I would give is as you're working through your process and your evolution of your idea of what you're passionate about, of your purpose, there is going to be a fight, but find the love in there as well. Because there's a fight, there's an internal fight with yourself, absolutely. But a lot of times people just fuel their whole project on the anger of everybody telling them no, instead of saying, I'm creating a big, beautiful idea. everybody's going to love it. They're going to throw roses at my feet, and everybody who's involved will benefit, right? So that would be the one thing that I would say.
Oh, I love that. It's like next level thinking. Instead of what's right in front of you, what's the bigger picture? That actually piggybacks into what I want to ask you here, taking this a little deeper. We have a young gentleman in our Mindset Master. His name is Felix, and he had a tremendous amount of anger and hate going on with everything that's going on with the race rioting and just everything that came off of the back of COVID, which was bad enough. And you've had some things happen in your life related to similar things that's going on there, but you persevered through, and from what I understand, you chose to use that energy or look at it a different way instead of feeding into the hate. And I was wondering if you could just sort of share your perspective on, some of the things you've been through. This is not your first rodeo with this type of stuff, this type of ignorance going on. And I see a lot of people feed all the energy into the anger and hate. And when I try to explain to them, I said, listen, it's consuming you. It's a lot of energy, and that energy could be put over here. So if you could just kind of maybe go into some of the, lightly go into some of the circumstances you've persevered through as it relates to that, and maybe your current perspective on what's going on and how you're processing that information,
So first and foremost, I like to say that there's the problem with racism is multifaceted, right? I need each and every person, black, white, Asian, I don't care, right? Black, brown, whatever it is. I need each and every person. If you think you have the single solution to racism, you are wrong. I just need you to understand this is not a one bullet type of situation. Everybody will say, this is what you need to do. There's multiple things that need to be done, and there's things that need to be done at certain times. Now, I'm not going to say I have all the answers, but I do know that a complex problem requires complex solutions. That's just logic, right? Now, as you talk about what I've been through, a lot of times I have a lot of white people that are on my team or that I work with. And people are so surprised that, one, I was almost killed by the police. I was unarmed. Police slammed me down to the ground, put me in the chokehold, put the gun to my head, and drugged me for 2 blocks. And the people that I was literally out there saving, because I wasn't in a car, I didn't even have a car at the time. I was 19 years old. And so the people that I was out there saving, or I won't say saving, I'll say helping, right? The people I was out there helping, it was some older ladies. They were screaming and crying and begging for this dude to leave me alone, right? They was trying to tell him what I was trying to do in the time that what was going on. He didn't ask any questions. And I'm still the same Nolen Davis. Like, people think, like, there is no thug Nolen Davis. Like, I used to be a thug. Like, you could literally be, I'm one of those guys that I resonate with everybody. So I know dudes that are thugs, right? I know dudes that take drugs, and I'm talking white and black. Like, I know white dudes that have done some things that is way over like on some movie type stuff, right? Then I know some hood stuff that's happened. But I too was almost killed by the police. I'm gonna tell you one thing. We watched some videos of 2 black guys in Starbucks, and they called the police on them. So I was in my bank, and it was a mix-up with my card, and I have tens of thousands of dollars in this bank. And the lady called the police on me because she thought my card was fraudulent at my bank that I have money in, right? And so I've had this just happened about 18 months ago. I literally was on the phone, turned around, and I don't know, I'm 6'2", right? So I'm not I'm the smallest dude in my family, so don't by any means think I'm big, right? My father is 6'6". I got a brother that's 6'7". I got another brother that's 6'9". So I'm the small. So you think I'm a good size until I call the cavalry. When the cavalry shows up, shit, the whole room gets dark, right? So anyway, so I'm 6'2", and this lady, she had to be every bit of 5'2". I turn around on the phone getting a cart at Kroger. This happened 18 months ago. I'm in a suit, mind you. Most people that know me know when I'm out, this is my quarantine gear. I usually wear a suit every day. I turn around and I bump into a lady, just bump into her, didn't knock her down. On the phone, I get off the phone to say, excuse me, I'm so sorry, because I reached out to grab her and she spits at me and calls me the N-word, right? I'm in a suit, same Nolen Davis, because see, people put in their minds that, oh, it's a black person. That's a way that they have an idea of what a black person is, does, and act. And for some odd reason, they feel like that's not like Nolen Davis. Now, here's the thing. I've had white people come to me and say, Nolen, you're not like the rest of them. I'm like, do you know the rest of them, right? No, I'm serious. These are people after they get comfortable with me. So I'm always teaching people in a moment. And there's some people that's going to watch this that's going to be like, oh my God, that was me, right? But I made them feel like that's not really the right thing to do, but in a safe space. Like, my grandmother used to tell, I'll say something stupid, and my grandmother lean down in my ear and say, don't say that out loud no more. We don't want nobody else to know you don't know that, right? So that was her way of saying, shut your dumb ass up. How you 13 years old and can't catch a ball, right? You know what I'm saying? Like you get hit in the face with the ball, go sit down. Like, so we don't want you embarrassing the whole family, right? So when they say I'm not like the rest of them, it's kind of like the mindset that people have about the police, right? They say it's a few bad apples. Now, people don't think of relativity. If you look at how many police do you see killing black people on TV? Now, you may come to me and say, statistically, more white people get killed. Where? They don't get killed on TV.
Right.
Show me one white person that has died by the hands of the police on TV.
Right.
You can't, right? That right there, I have a whole theory on what that is. But that situation of people trying to prove to be right from a statistic standpoint, as opposed to what we live in our life as black people, is two different things. That is them trying to justify how they feel about something instead of looking at the whole big picture. So when they say there's only a couple of bad apples, here's my response to that, is that I know thousands of black people that are like me. I know thousands of black, so COVID, we've only had 100 and I don't mean to say only, we're now at like 130,000 deaths. I personally know 4 people that died when we were at like 70,000. That means I know an insane amount of people. So I literally know thousands of people that are black, that are blue collar workers. I know thousands of people that are entrepreneurs. Go on my Facebook. You'll see me with white people, black people. You'll see me with some of everybody. And I know a couple of people that might be thugs and killers. To me, that's a few bad apples. But people that don't even know a lot of black people label black folks as, all of us are doing this. And they overlook all the regular people that I have a whole, what I call my tribe. None of us have kids out of wedlock. All of us had kids after we got married, and all of them are in the homes. It's like 10 of us, right? So it's all about the perception of what you put on TV. So if they're killing white people, they're killing unarmed white people, they're not putting that on TV. And then you have what they put on TV about Black people. And when we say that's fake news, that doesn't represent all of us, nobody listens to us, right? And so when people come to me and they say, well, Nolen, you beat the odds as a Black person, right? I want to be one of the greatest human beings of all times. I don't want to be just one of the best Black people, right? So people do that all the time. They say, well, how did you do it? Well, how did some of the Jews get over the Holocaust? Right?
Gotcha.
All of that is grit, right? How did someone that lived in an abusive household literally go through the abuse? How did somebody that went through sex trafficking come out on the other side? Everybody has their thing, right? The only problem is that Black people's thing is like integrated within the fabric of this nation to literally hold us down systematically. And that's what racism is. So a lot of times we're not asking for people to do anything. We're not asking you to repent for the sins of your forefathers or ancestors. We're literally asking you to see that there is a discrepancy on how we're treated and how others are treated, and that it is embedded in some of the policies, and this is what we need to change. So when we look at police reform, if you have an unarmed man that's already handcuffed and he was already unarmed, why add more force, right? When do we have the line of police brutality, and where does that training comes in? And our thing is that not that our lives matter more than yours. We know that and when people say Black on Black crime, right, we understand that there's a multitude of problems within our community. I get that. And that's why our solution has to be multifaceted. But we realize if we do something or if we don't do it, we're gonna get arrested. Just like I was helping somebody and I got slammed to the ground with a gun to my head, right? As I went to court and everything, they proved that I was a model citizen, right? So when does police become jury and executioner? That's the one thing, because that's not even the police's job. Their job is for legally to bring you back so you can have your day in court. That's what they're supposed to do. So that justification of, well, he was a bad person, you didn't see a record before you slammed me to the ground. And literally all of my high school years, I was an altar boy. I've never I've drank alcohol twice in my life. I've never tasted a beer. I've never taken a drug, and I've never smoked anything in my whole life, right? So when you look at the stereotypical Black person, and there's other Black people that I know just like me, I can bring them on this line if you like, right? So it's all of these different situations that literally convolutes the thought process of how you should feel about one race versus the other. But I'm going to give you one of the biggest indicators for those that don't know if they're racist or not. Are you ready?
Sure, that'll be good.
All right. If you look at TV and see someone who loses their life and you don't know everything that happens, if you take a side and not just say, oh, that's so messed up that somebody lost their life, like you do if you saw a crocodile get killed on TV, like you do if you saw a gorilla get killed, or like you do if you just saw someone kick a dog. You kick a dog and then people will be like, oh my God, why did they kick that dog like that? He's so harmless. He's so this, he's so that. If you watch someone and know no backstory, you have no, and that person didn't get a chance to go before a jury, That person didn't get the chance to tell their side. They were unarmed. You didn't see anything that they did. And me trying to punch you in the face, to me, is not a reason for you to kill me. I'm simple as that. Like,
no, I would agree with you. Yeah.
Right. If you watch something that horrific and immediately take a side or look for the justification on why it was okay, then you racist. That's it.
Makes sense.
And it's not that you don't have to go out and lynch black people. You don't have to go out and call us N-words. You don't have to be blatant with it. You don't have to come to my house and burn crosses. Now, I have a whole bunch of stories because I'm 47 years old, right? Me almost getting killed by the police anytime I get pulled over, I freak out, right? It's a traumatic situation, right? I was 19 years old. I absolutely did nothing and almost didn't make it. And all the people that I've helped and all the good that I've done and everything that I've tried to do would have not happened because of how he felt when he got on the scene and he saw me, because I was 6'2" and viciously handsome. Like, I mean, overtly handsome. You know what I mean? So that's my thing. My thing is, we don't not really asking for anything. We're asking for you to kind of get out the way. We're not trying to take anything from you. And so now when people look at what's going on, I can give you a list of 100 names of black people that's been killed. And each time we was like, look at this guy. Nobody did anything, right? And they single out this one situation where we like, enough is enough. People are saying, you need to do what they did back in the days of King, right? That sounds good, but if you see King, he literally, if you do some research, he trained those people that marched with him to be peaceful. He literally took them through a training of how do you get literally your ass whooped and not fight back. And there's footage of it, right? People would scream at them, they would grab them, they would throw them down, and they just had to take it. We've taken that part of it, and now we feel as if we're equal from a standpoint that we've already went through the Jim Crow, we went through the civil rights, we've done all of these things. Now, do we have to sacrifice ourselves to where it's so blatant that you're like, I shouldn't have done that after you did it. Like, we can't stand up for ourselves and have rights. So that anger, I don't agree with the looting and rioting, but I understand it.
Yeah, same here.
I do understand it. So my thing is not to judge someone else's plight or right or wrong, but my thing is those black people that are getting killed on your TV, them getting killed has nothing it's going to affect your life in any way, right? If you just turn the TV off and never see it, your bank account is not going to be affected. You didn't lose anybody in your community. It's not an injustice to you and your race. It's not any of that. For you to pick sides, even from a Zimmerman standpoint, Zimmerman got off and then he got arrested multiple times. Again, we were out with our hands out like, is anybody seeing this? Nobody cares. He was literally signing and autographing Skittle bags and selling them to people who wanted his, like, why? Why? That's that racism that you can see that and be quiet with it, but then we're just really trying to take care of our families and do whatever it is we need to do as we build. Last thing I'm going to say about this, this is how I explained racism to one of my kids, right? My dog, I have a big, huge dog, right? 85-pound dog, nicest dog, the most spoiled dog on this side of the Mississippi, right? I got 3 kids, everybody's rubbing him. He just come and lay down and he right at your feet and he's 85 pounds. So you can't just like walk over him or just be like, get out the way. You got to rub this big dude, right? So he gets all the treats, he gets all the rubs. Here's my philosophy. If you take my dog and if my dog, let's say, had a litter of pups And let's say that dogs literally raise their kids. The way he would raise his kids on how to get treats, on how he runs the house, on when somebody rings the bell, soon as you come, we don't have to bark, but you got to let them know. Like, these are all the good deeds that we need to do. This is how we get our treats. And this is how you live life. And life is great. And they're going to pamper us and they're going to love us. And we got kids that's kissing on us and throwing us in the pool. And we got all of these different things going on. Life is great. But then if you take a rescue, right? If you take a dog that regardless of what they do, they get beat, they get kicked, how are they going to raise their kids to survive? That level of survival. So when people say, now you guys are equal, so now you should do what we do. No, that's not the case. My grandfather just died last Wednesday. He was going to be 90 years old 4 days from today. He died 10 days before his birthday, right? He told me stories, because he's from Leeds, Alabama, on why Black people are so much more aggressive with reprimanding their kids in public. It came from his time and era that when he was younger, his mom used to do it, and she used to cry at night and say, I'm sorry I did this to you, but I don't want them to get you and lynch you. Like this person got lynched, we have no room for error, right? So from that standpoint, that has been generationally passed down, not so much now, but I used to get whoopings now, and we used to have the whole thing that anybody my age would tell you the whole block would whoop you. That's why the whole, like literally, if
No,
you
I know
was
what you mean.
out,
Yeah, your
right,
aunt,
and
your grandmother, your second aunt, somebody that calls
the
himself an aunt.
neighbors, like Mrs. Johnson will whoop you and be like, I whooped Nolen, he was out there doing this. But that was a way to try to keep our kids safe, because if you were acting out in the wrong areas, right, you literally could get lynched. Back when my grandfather was little, right? And he knows people that got lynched. So that was just my grandfather's situation. What are those people teaching their kids on how to survive, right? So there's a trickle down effect, and the more we know, the more we integrate, the more, so there's still a process with this whole thing. So if you think all Black people just need to do this, you don't know, because there's a multitude of things that has happened. And if anybody who knows who Willie Lynch is, read the Willie Lynch papers. And they talk about what they integrated in our communities on purpose to give us the same effect that we have right now. Now, to answer your question, I wanted to paint the picture. I am a lover of all people, right? And so I just love people from that standpoint. And I feel that everybody has greatness in them. And I am not going to hold you accountable for me almost getting killed by the police for somebody else. But you got to think, people, and I just, like literally 2 years ago, I got chased off the track. I used to run at the track before I bought the elliptical machine. I bought the elliptical machine because 4 dudes chased me off the track that had the Confederate flag. They got pickup trucks, and the Confederate flag was huge on the back of the pickup truck, and they were at the track drinking right at the high school in the bleachers, and I'm just running around the track, and they chased me. Like, I have story on top of story. I'm just still the dude that's going to be one of the greatest dudes of all times, and you go say it at my funeral. That's it. So a lot of times you may not see what goes on with people, but everybody fights their own demons. So that's it.
No, I appreciate it. A lot of nuggets and points in there. That's big aha moments. It's like you made a good point. It's not just Black people and what they go through. Like I said, it was the Jews and what they went through. It could be all different. So everybody goes through those things. I guess everybody has things like that, some way, shape, or form in their life. You don't look at it as like, poor me, why me? It's like, you got this thing, I got this thing. And you just choose to focus on pretty much loving everybody where they're at, and just being you and doing you, huh?
So I do love people where they are. Our problem is a little bit different because things are systemic for us. And so my thing is to get strong enough to help the rest of the people in my community. I can't just make it, right? I can't just do it for myself. Everything I do is from a sacrificial standpoint, because in my mind, in my story of my life, I'm a hero, right? And so in a hero story, you have to make the ultimate sacrifice for others, right? And so for me to help others build businesses and I make money from that, if you see, I've paid for shoes for whole schools. I've given thousands of pounds of food away. I've done a lot of different things that give back. Once I get to where I'm trying to get to, my give back game is going to be straight. I'm literally going to have tights and a cape. Like, you're not going to see me without tights on. Like, simple as that. My give back.
You and I are in alignment with that one. Just it's really getting to that point where you can impact on a global scale. So, well, two last quick questions before we wrap up here. And I appreciate your time today. Really been just inspiring and enlightening and educational for me as well. Two last quick questions. You already started to answer this one. Number one, I always ask people if you could recommend one book out of your entire journey, what would that book be?
One book. Well, you know, it's I believe that most of the books come off of this book. I believe, you know, 3 Feet from Gold, The Secret, all of these other books and organizations come from Think and Grow Rich. And I know that's you know, a whole, the cliche, right? But if you really break it down from prayer and auto suggestion to when you look at those things in the book, it makes a lot of different things and a collective of elements make sense, right? When people say you need to meditate, when people talk about the extra mind of if you and I get together, we literally create a third mind because of the mastermind situation, right? So when you look at all of those things and then you break down what somebody does to become successful, I would say Think and Grow Rich. Yep. I have mine in brown and I got the gold too, the same one.
Yeah, this is the Mindset Masters Bible, so I appreciate that. And last thing is, and you started to answer this, but this is the question: if you could have one phrase on your tombstone that you wanted people to see, and sort of, I don't want to say encapsulate you, but would you want to leave advice? Would it be a phrase? What
I already got the phrase. I used to say it on my TV show all the time.
What's that?
Love to live to love, and be well.
I like that.
Love to live to love, and be well.
I like it. Well, awesome, my brother. I appreciate your time today. It's been, like I said, enlightening, and I just really value the time we share together. I value you as a brother and a human being and a business partner, and looking forward to a long life of prosperity together. Thanks for doing this interview. I really appreciate it.
Hey, I want to thank you for having me. I want to give a big shout out to Justice League. People know I love my team. And until next time, love to live to love, and be well.
All right. Be well, brother. God bless.